building up a basic demo with A-frame. And these are the objects that we want to build, so we're gonna create 3 different shapes with A-frame. So right now the web VR and the WebGL APIs already enable us to start creating virtual realities of VR experiences inside web browsers. So we haven't talked about the web VR, but you can check it out. So the web VR is the virtual reality for the web, and we have talked already about the WebGL, but the community is still waiting for tools and libraries to appear to make this easier. Mozilla's A-frame, and this is the link, so you can check out this particular link, the A-frame. So Mozilla's A-frame framework provides a markup language allowing us to build 3D VR landscapes using a system familiar to web developers, which follows game development coding principles. This is useful for quickly and successfully building prototypes and demos without having to write a lot of JavaScript or GLSL. This article explains how to get up and running with A-frame and how to use it to build up a simple demo. High level overview. The current version of A-frame is 0.3.2, which means it's highly experimental, but it already works and you can test it out right away in the browser. It runs on desktop, mobile, iOS and Android, and Oculus Rift, Gear VR and HTC Vive. So A-frame is built on top of WebGL and provides pre-built components to using applications, models, video players, skyboxes, geometries, controls, animations, cursors, etc. It is based on the Entity Component System, which is known in the game development world, but it targets web developers with a familiar markup structure manipulable with JavaScript. The end result is 3D web experiences which are VR enabled by default. Environment setup. Let's start by setting up an environment to create something with A-frame. We will then build up a demo and run it. You should start off by making sure you are using a modern browser with a good WebGL support and WebVR support if you have available VR hardware. I don't have it, but if you have, you can follow this link. You can follow this page, and I have the Chrome, so optional. Set up a VR device such as Oculus Rift or Google Cardboard if you have that. Create a new directory to store your project in. So we're gonna go in a folder. I have a folder here and I'm just gonna name it. So I'm gonna name it A-frame like that. So it's gonna be A-frame, and I'm just gonna right click, open in terminal, and I'm gonna type in code space that so I can open it in Visual Studio Code. And for now I'm just gonna control tilde so I can close my terminal, close this folder too. That's fine. Now save a copy of the latest A-frame JavaScript library file inside your directory so we can check out this one. But if you go here in the save website, if you scroll down, you can check out almost in the middle. You're gonna see you can also check it out in the web and the GitHub. And this is the code that this person is using. And if we go into the A-frame, if we go into the JS, they have this link here, so they are using the A-frame.men.js, so we can use this one so we can avoid some confusion. And I'm just gonna download raw file. Okay, so it's by default it's gonna set it to my download. So let me see. Now it has changed, I think. So if I go A-frame, oops, okay, it has already downloaded to my file, to my folder. So I'm gonna delete this one as well. Okay, so we have that up to this point. So this is the JavaScript file. As you can see, it's pretty lengthy. Okay, and I'm using this one just to avoid confusion, but if you want you can try it out. You can try maybe one of these one. This is the latest, so this is the latest up to this point last week. So we are 18 August. Okay, so open A-frame documentation. We're gonna open it this one. So this is the A-frame documentation, and let me see. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so now HTML structure. The first step is to create an HTML document inside your project directory. Create a new index.html file and save the following HTML inside it. So what we are gonna do is let's just copy this HTML since it's just basic HTML. So we're gonna go here and just index.html like this, index.html, and let's just copy this piece of code. And as you can see, okay, so we have pretty much the doc type, the HTML, then we have this HTML element. We are starting it in line 2, closing it in line 11, and then we have the head and the body. Inside of the head we have the meta, then we have the char set, it's set to UTF-8, we have the title, MD Games, A-Frame Demo, then we have the script, and the source is aframe.min.js. So this is the one that I downloaded. Okay, and then the body is empty, we just have a comment. So we have that up to this point. Let's just right click and open it with live server, and there's nothing, as you can see here. So we have that up to this point, and let me see if I can, it's just white. Yeah, let's just leave it for now like this. Okay, so this contains some basic information like the document char set and title and the script, and as you can see we have the title here, MDN Games. Okay, let's move this one to the right. The script element, it includes the A-Frame framework and the page. So again, this is the script, is inside of the head element, and the script is set to the aframe.min.js, and I have downloaded from the same page. You can just check it out on the GitHub. And I went to the A-Frame and I went to the JS, and I grab it from here from the aframe.min.js, or you can try it out from here, A-Frame JavaScript library, and you can pick up maybe one of the latest ones, but I'm just gonna stick with the stable version. Okay, so what else do we have? We have the script. Okay, we will write our example code inside of the body element. Okay, so this is our page, there's nothing here, but okay, a scene is the place where everything happens. When creating new objects in the demo, we will be adding them all to the scene to make them visible on the screen. In A-Frame, the scene is represented by a scene entity. Note, an entity is any element. It can be an object like a box, cylinder, or cone, but it can also be a camera, light, or sound source. So let's create the scene by adding an A-Scene element inside of the body element. So let's just follow him this command. So inside of the body element, so we have the head and the body. Inside of the body element, we're just gonna have this, A scene like this, close it. Okay, and inside of this A scene we're gonna type in some code. So let's just save it for now, nothing has changed yet. Okay, so now adding a cube. So we're gonna add a cube. Adding the cube to the scene is done by adding a simple A-Box element inside the A scene element added now. So okay, so here instead of adding A-box, we're gonna add A-cube since we are adding a cube. So what we are gonna do is A-cube like this, and we can save it for now. And let me see. Okay, so as you can see we have a cube now. And again, as you can see here, your browser does not support WebVR. To enter VR, use VR compatible browser or a mobile phone. So but we are not focusing on WebVR in this page, so we can still work on it. Okay, so now we're gonna add some properties, mainly color, position, and rotation. Okay, so we are gonna go, we can just leave it like that. Yeah, since it's pretty much like this. So we're gonna add color like this. We're gonna have the position like that, and finally we're gonna have rotation. So again, we're gonna leave it like that. And the color, you have to put the number sign, and then the color I think is gonna be 0095, and then double D. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, and let's just save it so you can see what's happening. We have changed the color, as you can see. The position is gonna be 0 space 1 space 0. Okay, As you can see, it has changed. So now it looks like a square. Now it looks like in one plane, not 3D. Now we're gonna do rotation. It's gonna be 20 0 20 40 and 0. So again, it's gonna be 20 space 40 space 0. And now this is what we have up to this point. We have this cube, and let me see. Okay, so your browser does not, yeah, we have already that. So we have constructed this up to this point. This is very basic, but it contains a few parameters already defined: color, position, and rotation. These are fairly obvious and define the base color of the cube, the position inside the 3D scene, and the rotation of the cube. Note the distance values, e.g. for the cube and for the cube y position, are unitless and can basically be anything you deem suitable for your scene: millimeters, meters, feet, or miles. Is up to you. So adding a background. So now we're gonna have the skybox. A skybox is a background for the 3D world represented by a sky element. In our case, we will use a simple color, but it could also be an image, etc. Looking around would give an impression of being inside an open sky, a good environment. Whatever you like, add the following HTML before the ACube element. So they're talking before the ACube element, but we are still inside of the A scene element. So we're gonna have the A sky, and yeah, we can just leave it like that. A skies, A-sky, and there's nothing yet, but we're gonna add some colors. So it's gonna be number sign and then 6 uppercase letter D. So we're gonna have color like this, and then we're gonna have number sign and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that. So let's see how it looks now. And it has changed a little bit, so nothing much, but let's just, I don't know, maybe 1 2 3 4 5 6 F's. Nothing has changed here. Let's see if I can name instead of 85, let's just 55. You can play around here. As you can see, now we have changed completely. I wanted to know if I can just hover and change the color, but no, I cannot. So I don't know, maybe 1 here. You can play around here. Okay, so as you can see, we can change the background color here. So let's just leave it at 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this is the default, or the one that we are using, so we can leave it like that. At this point, if you save the code and refresh the browser, you can already see the cube on the screen with our custom background. As you can see, we have pretty much the same thing as they are. So we have created this cube up to this point. Here is the code we have created so far. So this is pretty much we have only been working in the HTML. So this is the HTML here, and we have added the async element. So inside of the AC element, we have the A sky element and the A cube element. So make sure you type in A-cube, not A-box. So we have that. And also, if you go into the JavaScript, again, remember that we have added this one, the aframe.me.js, and I have grabbed it from the, pretty much check it out in GitHub. And from here I went to, well, from here also they give you the HTML, but if you go back in the A-frame and if you go here in the JS, we can grab it from here. So okay, so we have that, we have CSS, but we haven't worked on it. So again, you can also check it out in the GitHub. Now A-frame takes care of setting up everything you need. A default light source and camera are included, so the cube is visible. The controls are already working. You can use the mouse for looking around and the keyboard for movement. Try W, A, S, and D key. So let me see W. I'm pressing the W key right now. As you can see, it's pretty much getting closer to me. Now let's press the 8 key. So I'm pressing it in my keyboard. So I'm pressing the letter A in my keyboard. Okay, so now I'm gonna press the letter S. Okay, so it's getting back, so I'm gonna press it and I'm gonna make it really small. So that's pretty cool. And as you remember, if I press W, it's coming back towards me. It looks cool. So if I press S, pretty much it's moving further away from me. So if I press I or A, I mean the key A in my keyboard is moving towards my right, and and now if I press the letter D, it's gonna move towards left. So we can press, I'm pressing right now W, and now I'm pressing D, so it's gonna move to the left, towards my left, and now it's moving towards me. So it's pretty cool. So A, D, W, and then S. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so this is the controls. Now there is the receiving and enter VR mode in the bottom right corner of the screen. So we already saw it. So they're talking about this one. Well, we don't have I don't have the hardware for now. So to allow you to shift to full screen stereoscopic image viewing, if you have the necessary VR hardware set up and ready. So if you have that set up, so give it a try if you want. Now, specifying a camera entity can be created by adding a camera element to the scene. Okay, so again, we can close the JavaScript file, but if we are going to the HTML file, we are here. This is the scene, so let's leave it like that, and this is the scene. So we're gonna work inside of the scene. Okay, so we can set the position of the camera explicitly and move it back a little bit from the center of the scene, so we will be able to see the shapes at this just before the closing async element. So just before the closing async element, they're talking about this one. And let me see what we are gonna add. So we're gonna have this a camera. Okay, so we're gonna have a hyphen camera like this, and here, okay, so we're opening, we're closing it. Let me see, camera. Okay, camera. And okay, we're not gonna type nothing here, but okay, here we're gonna start typing. Okay, so we're gonna have in the position like this, and we're gonna set it to oops, let me see, no, it has to be okay like this. So we're gonna 0, 4, and then 1. 0, 1, 4. So 0 space 1 space 4. We can just save it, and we're gonna, oh, okay, so like that. So this is the position. Now we're gonna have the cursor, so it's gonna be the cursor hyphen visible like that. Okay, visible, and we're gonna set it to this boolean true, and you don't have to separate this by a comma. Then we're gonna have the cursor, okay, cursor hyphen scale, and we're gonna set it to 2. Okay, so inside double quotes, that's fine. Then we're gonna have the cursor color, so cursor hyphen color, and we are gonna set it to this one, to the number sign 0095 double D. Okay, now we're gonna have the cursor let me see, opacity, and we're gonna set it to 0.5. We can save it up to this point, and this is what we have so far. So this is the camera. Okay, so let me see if we have typed everything right. So we have a oops, it has to be camera, save it. And okay, so now if I click here, and I'm just moving it with the cursor here, so as you can see, if you click, I don't know, well, you cannot just double click, but I'm just playing around here with the cursor, so that's pretty cool. So okay, that's cool, we can play around with that. So yeah, make sure that you type it right. So we have the a hyphen camera, we have the position, the cursor visible, the cursor scale, the cursor color, the cursor opacity, And again, you can play around with these numbers. Let's say, I don't know, 45. So let me see. Okay, so it has changed a little bit the opacity. Now instead, let's put the opacity 1, so it's gonna be a little bit darker, as you can see. So I can do this. Let me see, I can move it around here. So yeah, we can leave it like that. So it's gonna be 0.5, and this one I think it was 95, like this. Save it. Okay, so we have that. We have also defined a cursor for the given camera using the cursor hyphen asterisk attributes. By default, it is invisible. We have set its scale so it will more easily visible. Its color is on opacity, so it won't completely cover the objects behind it. Adding light. So now the basic light types in A-frame are directional and ambient. The first type is a directional light placed somewhere on the scene, while the second one reflects the light from the first type, so it looks more natural. This can be set globally. Add the new code below your previous additions. This uses the standard A light element, so we're gonna add this piece of code here. So add the new code below your previous additions. So let me see, we're gonna go right here. Okay, so let me see, add the new code below your previous additions. That uses a standard A light element, and again we are working inside of the async element, so we're gonna type in A hyphen light like this. And let me see, what else do we have here? So we only have this A light, and we close here. Then we're gonna have type, color, intensity, and position. Okay, we can, let me see, I can just put it here. Okay, so we're gonna have color, let me see, and we're gonna set it to something, but let me see. Okay, it has to be type first. Okay, it's gonna be type, color, then it's gonna be intensity, intensity. Okay, and then we're gonna have in the position. Okay, like that. Okay, what is the type? Let me see the type. The type is gonna be directional, like this. And the color is gonna be $triple F, like that. And you know what, let's move this one here, the color, the intensity, and then the position. Okay, so now the intensity is gonna be 0.5. so let's check it out to this point. Oops. It looks cool. So we have that up to this point, and let me see if I make, I don't know, 3D. Okay, so let's just leave it like that in triple F. And now the position is gonna be, we're gonna use the -1, then space 1, and space 2, like this. So it has to be separated. Okay, so as you can see, it's like this. We can refresh it, and it's taking some nice look. Okay, so now we have, this is the light, and outside of the light we're gonna add another A light element. So we're gonna go outside of that, A hyphen light, like this. And now we're gonna have just type, and we're gonna have just type set to something, and then color. So we can just leave it like that in the same row. And the type is gonna be ambient, like this. Let me see if I type it, ambient. Okay, and then the color. So let's save it, and let's see. Okay, as you can see, it has changed, but the color now is gonna be number sign. I mean, yeah, the number sign, and then triple F, uppercase letter F. And okay, so it has changed a little bit here. Let me see if everything is right. So A light, type, ambient, and the color is gonna be triple F 89. Okay, negative 1 2. Then we have directional. Okay, color 0.1. Okay, everything is fine up to this point. So now the directional light has a white color. Its intensity is set to 0.5 and it is placed at position negative 1 1 2. The ambient light only needs a color which is also white, adding some advanced geometry. We have a cube on the scene already. Now let's try adding more shapes. We are not limited to the default entities like a-cube. So as you can see here, we have the a-cube. They made a mistake at the very beginning when they type in a-box. If you remember here, they were telling us pretty much type in a-box. So here, a-box, you have to omit it and type a-cube. Okay, so using a-entity, we can create custom advanced shapes. Let's try adding torus. Okay, so this is geometry. Add this element below the previous code. Okay, so again, let's go below the previous code. So let's just go right here, and we are gonna have in the a-torus. So let me see if I type it right. So it's gonna be let me see, add this. Oh, a is a-8 entity, so not like that, it's just a-entity. Okay, so now we have, okay, it ends up here, but we are gonna have geometry, rotation, and position. Okay, here we are gonna have in the geometry. Okay, geometry, and it's gonna be equal sign. Okay, yeah, equal sign. We're gonna be set it to something, and then we're gonna have in the rotation like this, set to something, and then position, set to something like this. Okay, nothing has changed yet. Geometry, so let's work in geometry. So we're gonna have primitives. It's gonna be primitive, and it's gonna be colon, and it's gonna be torus like this. We're gonna end it up with a semicolon, so save it and let's see what happens. Okay, as you can see, we have like a hand here, or like a torus. So yeah, pretty cool. And again, you can still, let me see if I can, yeah, you can still press the key, those keys. W, I'm pressing W right now. Now S. So okay, let's just leave it like that, or just you can refresh it, and it's this color right now. Now the radius. Okay, radius, we're gonna set it to, let me see, radius, rotation. Let me see radius. We're gonna go, let me see real quick. Okay, I know what's going on. So I have to go here, and I'm gonna go here now. I'm gonna type in radius, and okay, so equals, okay, like this, and then we're gonna set it to 1, and there we have the radius set to 1. Okay, so let's save it. Okay, so it has changed the color, as you can see. Now we're gonna have the radius tabular, so radius, okay, and then tabular, and it's gonna be set to something. So let me see, radius tubular, and then it's gonna be set to 0, semicolon at the end, save it. Okay, as you can see, it's changing now. Oh, it's 0.1, so it has to be 0.1 like this. Okay, it's changing. Okay, now the segments tubular, so again, segments tubular like that, and it's gonna be set to something. Let me see, it's gonna be set to 12. Okay, so like that. And okay, we can refresh the page, and oops, now as you can see this is white, but let's keep moving. So let me see real quick. So we have geometry, okay, that's fine. Primitive torus, okay. Then we have the radius set to 1, radius, okay, radius tubular set to 0.1, and then segments tubular. Okay, I made a mistake here. It has to be camel notation. This is set to 12. Okay, so now it's fine. And now we are outside of the geometry, but we are let me see, let's move this one here. Now we are inside of the rotation. It's gonna be 10 space 0 space 0. Oops, let me see what I did. Okay, so okay, that's fine. 10 0 0. Okay, that's fine. That is the rotation. Now we're gonna deal with the position, and the position is gonna be -3, so -3 space 1 space 1. Okay, -3 space 1 and then space 0. Let's save it. And okay, so this is what we have. So we have this torus, then we have this square, and we can move it around with the cursor. As you can see, I'm playing around here like a child. And you can also you can also use your, you can refresh it, and then you can press the keys, the keyboards. I'm pressing W, D, S, A. So that's pretty cool. And we're almost done with this tutorial. So our entity has a torus primitive which represents its shape. We are passing some initial variables to that shape: the radius of the other edge of the torus, the radius of the tube, and number of segments along the circumference of the tube face respectively. Rotation and position are set in the same way as we saw earlier. Now defining a material. The torus is now visible on the scene, but its color doesn't look very good. This is because we have to create a material to define the appearance of the entity. Edit the A-entity define the torus to look like the following. So now we are now gonna pretty much type match, but we are gonna update this code, this entity. So we have the geometry, rotation. So rotation, it has to be like this. So let me see now. Okay, so now it looks much better. So yeah, keep in mind the spelling. Okay, so we have the geometry. The geometry is fine. Okay, geometry. The primitive is set to the torus. Okay, then the radius set to 1. The radius tubular is set to 0.1. The segments tubular is set to 12. Okay, that's fine as well. Now we have the material. Okay, so we have the rotation and the position is the same, but here we're gonna add the material. So it's just gonna be material like this. We're gonna set it to something, material. Okay, so here we can start typing. Here we're gonna have the color, so it's gonna be color set to something, number sign. Number sign is gonna be uppercase letter A, uppercase letter E, A. Okay, then we're gonna have E, and then F, double F, and then 2, ended up with a semicolon, and then we're gonna have in the, I messed it up, it's not equal sign, it's colon and space. And now we're gonna have a second attribute. It's gonna be the roughness, but let's save it for now, and let's go to our website, and it's looking like this. So as you can see, okay, yeah, it looks okay. We are playing around up to this point. So now roughness, so it's gonna be roughness. Keep in mind the spelling. Roughness is gonna be set to 0.1, semicolon at the end. And then metalness, so it's gonna be metalness. Okay, and it's gonna be 0.5. Okay, semicolon at the end. and as you can see, looking like a metal type color. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. Okay, so the metalness, we have that. Okay, so and the new material attribute, we set up the color of the material, then its roughness. A rougher material will scatter reflected light in more directions than a smooth material, and metalness, how metallic the material is. Okay, so adding some JavaScript to